unit that could hold the 4-piece VV instead, Lynette can swap over to a 4-piece Noblesse Oblige to instead give a team-wide attack buff. Other sets focused on her personal damage would be 4-piece Emblem for the ER and burst damage bonuses, or Golden Troop to further boost her skill damage, although you would want to use her skill twice per rotation to take full advantage. However, in most cases, just using the VV or Noblesse to boost your entire team's damage is just better. Now, if you do have C6 and want to try using her as an on-field Anemo hyper carry, you can slap on sets that give Anemo damage bonus, attack, or normal attack bonuses to boost her on-field damage. The Desert Pavilion, Shimenawa, Gladiator's Finale will all be viable good options, but her potentially top DPS set would be the 4-piece Marechaussee Hunter, and she can easily stack the crit rate bonuses with her skills HP gain and drain mechanic. Moving on to her weapon choices, it'll be divided between energy recharge or more offensive attack crit weapons. For starters, this is an opportunity to address a large chunk of her ER needs by using an ER sword. The Favoni sword or an R4 to R5 sacrificial sword are general top picks to address a lot of her energy concerns, with Favonius having more team-wide battery utility and Zack Sword having lower personal ER requirements and a skill refreshing effect. Aside from that, the Skyward Blade or Festering Desire are good alternative options, and there's also a new
Bastard Sword actually has a positive hit ratio.
The Fleuve Cendre Ferryman, which has an ER substat and a passive that gives a skill crit rate and ER bonus, but gives a ton of negative rates. On the other hand, if you really want to see bigger numbers on her, you can equip a more offensive weapon with a crit or attack substat and damage-related buffs. Be aware that this will impact her ER requirements a lot. If she's on a support build, bursting reliably is very important. So unless you can meet her energy needs without an ER weapon, I'd recommend sticking to an ER sword instead. But if you're trying to use her as a hyper carry unit, particularly if you have her C6 unlocked, then definitely prioritize her crit sword for maximum damage. Her ER needs can be filled in by other support batteries instead, and she can simply burst every other rotation as discussed previously. Finally, let's go through her team synergies and considerations. At a basic level, she can act as an Anemo support for most teams that would highly benefit from a VV user shredding the enemy's resistance and or swirling and applying elements. Think most teams where Sucrose and Kazuha work, and Lynette would very likely function there too. Perhaps not at the same level, but still passable as a VV-equipped Anemo unit. Templates like Vaporize, Melt, Freeze, Electrocharge, Aggravate, and Mono-element teams, and so on, benefit a lot from a VV user after all, and I always note in my character guides where Anemo Flex units are welcome, so Lynette will more or less be a viable option in those templates. You might have the technically better alternatives, so you're probably comping Lynette for personal preference, which is perfectly fine. If you have her C6 unlocked, she can be an Anemo driver who activates off-field attacks like Saint-Cho or Yanlan's Burst, similar to how Sucrose is often played as an on-field driver. If you're a mono Anemo fan, she can assume a slot in a Wanderer or Shao plus Farazan Bennett core team. She would be doing a decent amount of damage in that team, and can help mitigate some of Farazan's ER demand at the expense of not having a shielder. Perhaps her most glaring considerations are that her section is pretty mild, assuming you even have her C1 unlocked, and that she doesn't have more valuable support buffs like damage bonus or EM sharing. Her team-wide attack buff is fine, of course, but damage bonuses and EM are generally more potent. But as an Usia-aligned unit, she can have situational combat advantages against certain Fontaine-based enemies, which is when she may be preferred over other Anemo supports. And if we get more units that synergize with other units that can drain their own HP, then she may eventually have more team possibilities. Now, if you're considering making her team star DPS, then you're looking at a hyper carry team with her C6 unlocked. However, in order to maximize this team's potential, she really wants a Farazan, most preferably C6 as well, who will mainly give big Anemo-related buffs. Bennett would be a highly recommended third unit to buff and heal your team. Then the fourth flex slot is up to you depending if you want more offense, defense, or buffing utilities. Unfortunately, if you have Bennett's C6 unlocked, his Pyro Infusion will override Lynette's Anemo. In that case, you should use another support. I do wish they included the condition that her infusion cannot be overridden. Lynette could also act as a decent Hyperbloom driver, alternating for Sucrose and the Sucrose Saint-Cho official and Denjo Hyperbloom team, also known as Salad. Here, Lynette is swirling Electro around, which causes the Dendro course to trigger. That means the Hyperbloom damage will scale from Lynette's stats, so you want her at a high level with a full EM build instead. And that's it for Lynette. Let me know if you're already building her and what you think so far, or if you don't plan to for now. If this video helped you out, don't forget to leave a like, consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all soon. Take care. Go to sleep. I still have some loose ends to tie up from work today.
should just run away.
Hey everyone, it's Sebi. Welcome to my guide on Charlotte, our expert photojournalist and new cryo unit that's hot off the press. This video will give the scoop on her kit and talents, constellations, artifact build, weapons, and team comps. Let's get started. Charlotte is a 4-star cryo catalyst user who mainly fulfills the role of an off-field cryo applicator and team healer. Her kit is pretty simple but useful in the right scenarios, so let's review how her talents work. Charlotte's normal attacks are a short 3-hit combo sequence with a stronger 50 stamina cost charge attack that can deal Numa-aligned damage every 6 seconds. Her normal attacks have standard ICD, but the charge attack has no ICD, which can let you apply cryo more frequently at the cost of faster stamina drain. Next is her skill, which has a press and hold version. Pressing it deals cryo damage in front of Charlotte and applies a snappy silhouette mark to a maximum of 5 enemies. This mark lasts for 6 seconds and deals cryo damage at an interval of every 1.5 seconds to enemies. Due to its ICD, every other hit will apply cryo on the same enemy, but this only has a brief 6-second duration, so for more sustained application, that's where the hold version comes in. Holding the skill will make Charlotte enter a viewfinder mode, similar to Nahita's skill, and she can also slowly move around while aiming. If you hold it for about 1.5 seconds, the viewfinder animation will significantly expand, and that lets her apply an improved mark called Focused Impression. Instead, this mark deals a bit more damage at 1.5 second intervals, but more importantly, it now lasts for 12 seconds. Generally speaking, you'll want to use your hold skill mainly for its better sustained cryo application and since it generates more cryo particles. However, in situations where you can afford the shorter mark duration and cooldown, and if your other units help battery reverse, then using her first skill is fine and shortens her on-field time. Be careful though, Charlotte has no innate interruption resistance increase while she's in the viewfinder mode, which puts her at risk of getting staggered. If she gets staggered before the viewfinder expands, she will only fly.
Stop hitting Emily.
So you'll either have to ensure she's safe from enemy attacks that can stagger her, or she has a shield or interruption resistance buff from other sources. You also need to keep the enemies.
Oh my god, there we go.
Snapshots, otherwise it won't stick. It's not like Nahita's skill where you can mark an enemy while aiming and let them go out of view.
That's the kind of numbers I want to see, although I did use.
Next, Charlotte's burst contains her healing utility, as casting it first deals an instant of cryo damage and heals your entire party for a huge amount of HP. Then it creates a 4-second field that deals cryo damage and heals the active character over time. Her healing scales on her attack stats, so at least getting attack stats has a double purpose of boosting her healing and damage, and she can take advantage of external attack buffs. For her Ascension 1 passive, when opponents marked by Focused Impression are defeated, her skill's cooldown will be decreased by 2 seconds, and this can trigger up to 4 times within every 12 seconds. Naturally, it'll only kick in if you're against easy-to-kill enemy mobs, which can be nice for shorter rotation times. Then for her Ascension 4 passive, we have a region-based effect. Having Fontaine in her team makes Charlotte gain a bit more healing bonus, while other regions will gain a bit more cryo damage bonus. These are small but welcome buffs, and it does make sense that Fontaine members get more healing bonus, since most of them revolve around HP changing mechanics. And for her utility passive, it works with a special analysis zoom lens that should be obtainable in an upcoming 4.2 event. All in all, her gameplay is pretty straightforward. As a support, you'll use her skill to apply cryo and damage over time, and burst to heal your
Oh, damn.
and she'll also remain on-field until it's time to refresh her abilities. If you're using her as a non-field,
I should try experimenting more with
charge attack combos to output more cryo application and damage, and drive many off-field abilities for teammates.
who I can and can't control.
You should prioritize her first talent for better healing, followed by her skill talent to increase its damage. Unless you're planning after her first heals a character, they get an added mark that heals them over time, every 2 seconds for 6 seconds, based on 80% of Charlotte's attack. This is a good upgrade to her survival utility, since her C0's healing over time is restricted to the on-field unit and the mid-level. But now it gets a bigger healing value and can continue healing off-field units over time. C1 is one of her better constellations to make her a more comfortable healer, especially when comped with Farina. C2 makes Charlotte's skill give her an attack buff for 12 seconds based on how many enemies are hit. If you can max it out against 3 enemies, this means somewhat decent gain for both her damage and healing. C3 increases her burst level, which means more healing. C4 hits where her energy needs, since when her burst hits an opponent marked by her skill, it deals a bit more damage and more importantly, it restores 2 extra energy to Charlotte up to 5 times every 20 seconds. This can reduce Charlotte's ER needs by 10 to 20% to make building her easier. C5 increases her skill level by 3 for more damage. Finally, with C6, if the active character uses a normal or charge attack to hit an opponent with the focused impression mark, Charlotte's camera will deal a coordinated cryo attack and heal the active character. This can only trigger every 6 seconds and is considered as burst damage. This is an extra source of cryo damage, amplification, and healing, so C6 can complement both her off-field and on-field playstyles. Moving on to Charlotte's artifact pool, her preferred stats and sets can vary for either more healing or damage. Your build can be skewed to either rolls or falls or in between. Let's start with her support build, which is what I generally recommend for her. Charlotte's ER target will vary depending if she's comped with other cryo units or have teammates with energy-giving effects. With another cryo teammate and another fab user, she can fall around 180 to 200% ER, which is high but still manageable. However, if she's the only cryo unit, her ER range shoots up to around 250%, which is a lot. So if she's your team's main survival support, just ensure that her burst recharge will be reliable enough. For her main stats, ER or attack sense, and if you're still lacking enough ER, an attack goblet, which helps both healing and damage, and an attack or healing bonus circlet. Attack is a balance of damage and healing, but healing bonus gives higher healing overall. For substats, get enough ER to burst every rotation and prioritize attack rolls since that boosts both your healing and damage. Crit rate is also helpful if you're using the Pagonis Codex on her, and it'll help squeeze more damage from her. When it comes to sets, her recommendations will also be situational. If she's supporting attack scaling units, she can equip the 4-piece Dynasty or 4-piece Noblesse sets for their team-wide attack buff, boosting team damage and her healing. The 4-piece Dynasty works very well with her since her skill does internal damage, which can give it slightly higher potential uptime, and the Noblesse sets fixed 12-second uptime. For healing-related sets, there's the Ocean Good Clan or Maiden Beloved sets. The main difference is that the clan can provide extra damage from its bubble, while the Maiden set is purely for the strongest healing, so that's already overkill in many situations. If you're in a team where the Noblesse and Dynasty's attack buffs aren't as useful, or with Farina where she needs a lot of healing, then a healing set would be a good alternative instead. There are also 4-star alternatives, which are the Exile and Instructor sets. Exile regenerates energy for your teammates, which can help for very energy hungry teams, while Instructor gives a team-wide EM bonus, so if you're using her to support reaction-dependent characters, it's also a good option. However, 4-star artifacts have a lower stat ceiling, so that will affect her attack stat and consequently her healing potential. And for a cheap and flexible build, you can go for 2-piece combos of ER, attack, or healing bonus sets. If you're interested in building Charlotte for damage, just be aware that she will output significantly lower damage compared to actual dedicated cryo DPS units, and you won't get the same return of investment. That said, as long as you're okay with it, then by all means, go ahead. In general, she'll follow the path of other cryo DPSs, and if another unit can't be your defensive option, then building ER on Charlotte isn't as important anymore. Wizard Strayer will be her general best set in freeze comps, while some sets are conditionally good if you're using her in to comp. And if you're planning to live in the Fontaine artifact terrain for a while, then you can give her any leftover golden trick pieces, since that still gives her skill a lot of damage bonus for an off-field playstyle. Next are Charlotte's weapon options.
We're going now? Alright, hold on.
Is extremely helpful for Charlotte's ER needs, especially as a solo cryo unit, while also back figures. But Ember offers another source of healing, which can help with durations where you're taking a lot of damage or draining HP, while also regenerating a bit of the user's energy. Literally Fails gives a huge backup with Next Day, which is useful in supporting attack scale of DPSs. If you have the Ultron Eye from this attack, it's also a decent balance of your attacking power. As for DPS weapons, you just generally look at those with attack percent or crit substat that can offer relevant damage bonuses, while EM weapons should only be used in health. 5-star weapons are the first bonuses will be your general comp option. Be mindful of damage bonus types sometimes give. For instance, if you're going for attrition damage, then you'll have to adapt to take advantage of such buffs. Elemental damage bonuses will instead be more flexible and floating. let's go over her specialty pumps and synergies. The Freeze Team, Charlotte mainly provides good sustained cryo application while consolidating your survival needs. Freezing enemies before you use your gold skill can also help her avoid getting staggered from enemy attacks, making her feel a bit more comfortable to use. Freeze Teams generally don't need very strong healers well, and these are ideally practical often enough that they won't really hit you as much at all. In such cases, you will go more towards damage than healing. However, one major exception is if you're playing a Freeze Team use Karina, since Karina drains your entire team's HP for her buffs. In this case, you will want to kill Charlotte for more healing, so she is better mitigate Karina's HP drain. Charlotte does feel like a very suitable teammate for permanent team if she is consolidating the role of private application of her time and good healing. Another template that makes good use of freeze are balloon-based reaction teams. This requires good hydro and ninja applicator teammates who will generate ninja force from enemies, while Charlotte's cryo application will consistently freeze them for crowd controlling and helping force duration. While a pure balloon team is possible to develop a team without Nina, it will destroy in terms of damage, and Charlotte can't work with Nina's restriction. Instead, we can add an electro or variated damage preventable or virgin to help increase the team's damage potential. In general, Hyperloop is the better.
Holy shit, what's up with the encounter rate?
Be your on-field driver, and if you're also using Karina as a hydro applicator, then Charlotte's healing will mitigate Karina's HP drain. For virgin, Charlotte's cryo application also helps her for accidental pyro or burning auras on enemies, which can allow more consistent force duration. I think the freeze and bridge variants will be her ideal needs. Another thing you can consider is reverse mountains, where she can provide healing and move off-field damage, or maybe you're actually using her as your on-field cryo BPS. Enable pyro application. This is typically done with provided Shadow combo, a Fire combo, or a Burn combo with the EM. However, with many already stable and most reverse melties, that can make Charlotte's healing quite redundant, and since she doesn't output her damage, I generally just recommend using another cryo BPS or support that can output more damage on buffs. But if you just want more comfort, I think that Charlotte will gain a lot of healing together while getting her own melting routine. Forward melties are also a possibility, which involves a pyro BPS with one controlled application like healing. Since cryo gets rid of the cryo aura faster, it will need multiple fast and cryo sources, so pyro is in a mono cryo team, she can be your survival support, which frees up all other slots for offensive characters. We have Shinda from Ghost Stacks, who will control a huge offensive base damage buff.